Hey Toy fans, D21 Beast here, back with another figure review for you guys here today. And today we're looking at the Star Wars Hero Mashers Yoda vs. Emperor Palpatine 2-pack, released by Hasbro. Now of course this 2-pack does appear to be based off one of the climactic battles towards the end of Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. In that movie, not only did we learn that Yoda can't take down a Sith who's only a quarter of his age, but we also learned that he's pretty good at sneaking around in air vents. Huh, who knew? Let's say we get things started by taking a look at the packaging for these figures. As you come down the front of the box, you do have that Star Wars logo in the upper right and the figures' names off to the side. You do have a window box packaging that does house these figures inside as well as their accessories. On the left-hand side, you do have a mashed up Star Wars character, and then on the lower left, you do have the name for this toy line, Hero Mashers. And on the reverse side of this packaging, you do have that Star Wars logo one more time. You then have an image of mashed up Yoda and Palpatine squaring off against each other. Then on the right-hand side, you do have a lineup of some other figures currently available from this toy line. Alright guys, well that's the packaging. Let's say we get these Force Masters out of the box and see what they're all about. Alright Toy fans, so here we have Mashers Yoda and Mashers Emperor Palpatine, or Darth Sidious if you'd prefer, out of the packaging, and I've got to say these guys are really a bit of a mixed bag, and it's completely your fault, Hasbro. Now, there are some good aspects, but we'll get to the negatives in just a little bit. Starting with the good, I really do like the sculpt of these figures. Now, because they are Jedi-robed characters, the detail I think isn't nearly as cool as what we saw with the Mashers Darth Vader or even the Mashers Boba Fett figure that I've already reviewed. If you guys missed those reviews, definitely check the links to those videos below this one. But, much like we saw with the Darth Vader Masher figure, both of these guys come with robes. They do attach on the back, or just kind of around the waist in Palpatine's case. Yoda actually plugs into the back, and I like that we have the hood detail here on this piece. I think that's great. It's definitely fitting for Yoda. Coming down the front of the figures here, though, you'll see that there are just wrinkles sculpted in each one of the figures' bodies. Yoda's even got a bit of a band here. Palpatine's got a little bit of, I don't know, ornate jewelry or something like that in the neckline for his robe. And then the face has the proper sort of scarring and sags. You know, it looks just like everyone expects Palpatine or Sidious to look. Yoda, of course, has the forehead wrinkles and his eyes are done well. His ears are, uneven, just like they were in the movie and on all the other toys we've seen so far. And I like the little frown that he's got. Paint application-wise, Yoda's got some very clean paint on the eyes. Clean paint for the hair, but really there's not a lot of extra paint detail aside from the just two-tone shades of the robes. Same thing going on for Palpatine here. He does have some very clean paint applications on the eyes. His face has been applied cleanly, but then again, just because it's robes, you're really only dealing with two-tone color, and it's applied neatly, but there's not a lot to look at in that sense. When it comes to accessories, this box set is fully loaded. As you can see here, we do have the respective lightsabers for each character. We've got Sidious's lightsaber here with the gold handle, which I never noticed in the movies, and so it's cool to see that on the toy. And then Yoda actually has his lightsaber. Now, unlike, say, the Hasbro Star Wars figure line, Yoda's lightsaber is the exact same length as Darth Sidious's, so that is different. I know in the movies it's shorter. I thought they might have done that too with the Masher, but I guess they kept them the same size. These lightsabers do fit nicely into either figure's hand. You just slide them right in there. You can fit Palpatine's in his hand very nicely. There we go. And then we have some interchangeable hands going on here. Yoda actually has a sort of Force Hadoken, I guess you could say. You can pull off the arm on his forearm here and then just reattach it here. Now these pieces are actually permanently glued into the hand, so you will actually have to switch out the actual arm pieces to get these on here. But once you do that, he does have this force ball, I guess, that rotates around, and he can hold it pretty well in his hand. It does kind of weigh him down a little bit. And then we can switch it out with this other hand. Now, this hand appears to be some sort of like force push effect. I honestly think in that sense, it's pretty goofy and ridiculous, and you can just do a better job pretending than having this weight on the front of your figure holding him down. But this accessory definitely highlights what I think is a major problem with Hasbro Mashers anymore. Back when we had the original Masher line figures, we'll take a look at the Deadpool that I have here. He does have a shoulder hinge, so his arm can move up and down. You can get some great dynamic poses out of that arm. You're not getting that with the Yoda figure, and one thing that would have been really, really cool with this figure is if they had had a shoulder hinge, you could actually maybe pose this to where Yoda is, forcing himself off the ground and flying at an opponent. You just can't do that now because of these single rotation shoulders. It is a major problem and a major disappointment for me on these new Mashers moving forward. To make matters worse, these characters, these Jedi and Sith characters, do battle with their lightsabers on a regular basis. And I know we're touching into articulation here, but roll with me a little bit. You can rotate the arm forward and backward, but again, no shoulder hinge. You cannot get this arm out and do some dynamic sword positions like you could with the Deadpool figure. You could pull his arm out and have him just kind of posing behind his sword. You could do some really cool sort of motions because he has that hinge in his shoulder. And he's a sword character. You want that sort of articulation. With Yoda and with Palpatine, you're just getting this movement front and back. You know, similar to 5-point of articulation figures, it's not very dynamic, and it does kind of ruin your attempts to pose these figures dynamically. I really wish that Hasbro would have fixed this for the Star Wars line. The figure line is smaller. They obviously had money to put into this line because the sculpts and the paintwork have been great across the line. But man, their skimping on costs have really affected the fun factor, I think, of these Jedi figures. It is a major disappointment. Also, I should mention that earlier Master figures have had ankle articulation, so you can rotate their feet all around. You could get Deadpool posed in a really cool position, you know, kind of lurching forward, really just doing whatever you want because he has that ankle articulation, and you could get him doing some pretty cool sword positions. With Yoda, he has no ankle articulation, and neither does Palpatine, and we'll see if we pull off his robe, that what you're looking at here is a very stiff sort of standing form. You can get him to move forward a little bit, but his feet don't fit flat on the ground, and he's going to be difficult to stand. Again, with sword characters, this is a major failing, because you can do some great positions, you can think up some great positions that you just can't execute with these toys. I'm very disappointed on that front. But let's go ahead and finish taking a look at the articulation, or the accessories rather. Palpatine can pull off his forearms, and he can put on the Force Lightning. Now this is kind of a cool effect that the figure comes with. You'll plug a lightning hand onto each arm, and you can have Palpatine doing his trademarked, you know, Force Lightning effect, going after Yoda or what have you. Again, these pieces do tend to weigh the figure down, so it probably would have been good if they found a way to sort of hollow these out on the bottom. I'm not sure if that's even possible with how thin they are. But you can get Palpatine doing the Force Lightning, so that's a great effect, and something that's, you know, would have been sorely missed, I think, had they not included it with the Palpatine figure. Finally, the most interesting effect is we have the sort of training sphere that you may remember from Star Wars A New Hope, and I know it showed up in the prequel several times at the Jedi Academy. I can't remember specifically when, but this is the only piece that will actually plug into Yoda's hand, and it's a little tight. And you know, of course, it's not going to fit now in the video review, but once you get it in there, you can have Yoda pretending like he's actually doing some training. And man, I got it in there once, but it is not wanting to go in there now, so, oh well. But that's how the review is going to go this time. But anyway, as you can see here, it is sculpted very nicely, but I do wish that peg was a little better fit to the figure's hand. But once you get it in there, you could have Yoda just kind of holding it up, not really striking at it. Again, the shoulder articulation gets in the way, but it's still a pretty cool accessory to have nonetheless. And if you have an Anakin or a Luke Skywalker Master figure, it may be pretty cool to put this on that figure and just kind of have him squaring off against his training bot. There we go. I've touched on it already, but let's take a closer look at the articulation on these figures. For the purpose of this part of the review, I've gone ahead and removed the Jedi robes because they really do just completely hinder the articulation of the legs whatsoever. You're not going to get any movement out of them with those robes on. So, with the robes off, you can see here, Yoda is actually missing the sort of midsection leg piece, which is actually a nice touch to make him look like a shorter Master figure. So just know he's going to miss a little bit of articulation that the Darth Sidious or Palpatine figure has. We're going to go ahead and look at the Palpatine figure. His head will bend down that far very nicely, but the way it's sculpted, his head will not look back at all. It does rotate left and right. He, of course, has that single rotation here at the shoulder, and then a full rotation here at the elbow, and the arm will bend forward that far and back that far. There is no wrist or finger articulation, no hip or no waist articulation, but he does have a hip that'll bend forward that far, bend back that far, does bend out from the body that far, and he's got a full rotation here at the knee, and he bends down that far, bends up that far. There's also a rotation here at the hip. There we go. But there is no ankle articulation on this figure, as I previously pointed out. And with Yoda, very similar movings here. He has a head that'll rotate all the way around. He does look up pretty nicely, look down nicely. Full rotation here at the shoulder. He's got a full rotation here at the elbow, and his arm will bend forward and back. He's got the hip joint that'll bend forward that far, bend back that far, bend out from the body that far, and again, no ankle articulation whatsoever. So again, for lightsaber-wielding characters, this range of articulation is pretty disappointing. Alright, toy fans, if you're not familiar with the Master toys and what they're all about, they are a figure line that allows you to separate your character at the head, the elbow, the hip joint, and the knee joint, and mix them with other figures in the line. Let's go ahead and bring in the Boba Fett and Darth Vader Master that I've already reviewed, and you can see after a quick edit, once you mix and match all these pieces, you can create some pretty interesting looking bounty hunters, Jedis, or Sith characters. And of course, the more figures you have from this toy line, the more options you're going to have to mix and match and create your own custom-made superhero or villain. Height-wise, we can see that Master's Yoda does come in right about 4.5 inches tall. Master's Darth Sidious comes in a little closer to 5 3/4. For some size comparison, here we've got Master's Yoda and Master's Darth Sidious compared to the Starscream Master figure. And just like we saw with Vader and Boba Fett, these Master figures do seem to be scaled a bit smaller. Here they are compared to the Marvel Superhero Masters Wolverine figure. Just for fun, here they are compared to the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith 3 3/4 inch scale Yoda figure. And finally, Here they are compared to the 6-inch scale Marvel Legends Infinite Series Wolverine.
Hey Yoda, you do realize this guy's Palpatine, don't you?
No, I'm not Palpatine, I'm Darth Sidious.
You're kidding me, right? You smell just like him.
No, it's coincidence. People also tell me I look like Ian McDermott, but we're separate people.
Bub, I ain't wrong.
What's that over there?
Huh?
So long, suckers!
Really? Foreseen this, I should have.
Alright, toy fans, well that's my review of the Star Wars Hero Masher Yoda vs. Emperor Palpatine 2-pack released by Hasbro in 2015. Overall, I am really disappointed with the 2-pack that Hasbro has given us here. You just don't have the dynamic range of articulation you need when posing a Sith or Jedi character. For collectors, that's really gonna hurt when it comes to picking up this box set. For younger children who just play with their toys and don't really care about posing them so much, it may not be much of an issue, and with all the accessories you're getting, this may still be a bargain for you. But for all of you collectors out there, heed my warning and take a pass on this box set. Well, thanks for watching this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you saw here, please feel free to rate, share, and subscribe. It really helps me out. Also, be sure to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at D21Beast. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.